So, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. So, this week, um, we've been talking about uh, naming with care, how words help shape our practice. And Linda pointed to the um, Pali words nama rupa. Nama looks like a cognate for our name. Um, anyway, she called it an interdependent pairing of mental with physical. So putting a name to something helps us think about it and forms our view of it, actually. But on the other hand, we need to be aware that when we do that, it can also become constraining. So it has to be kind of provisional or a dynamic process. And today I am going to talk about how naming photos that I have taken has helped me as a photographer. So last year I found a mentor and we worked together for a while, and I was thinking, wow, he's going to help me, uh, you know, take these fantastic photos or do some great editing or whatever. And we did some of that. But he surprised me and said, now, what we're going to do is you're going to look at your photos and and think carefully about them, the ones that you have a real connection to, and you're going to name them, as well as create a story behind a gallery of photos. So, so this with photography, I think, oh, visual. I'm drawn to that, but do I have to put language with it? And that's been a process that's helped me. And so no longer do I go out looking for that one spectacular landscape photo with a beautiful sunrise, though I'm always ready for that. But I have confidence to look for subjects that interest me, that could be more abstract close-ups or scenes that I find an emotional connection with, as well as photos that show the vastness of a landscape. So, as my mentor explained to me, naming photos help create a connection between me and the photo, and provide the viewer with a thread into the photo. Uh, it's not everything, but the viewer may see something completely different, and maybe a kind of dialogue between the viewer and the photo is started. So I'm going to share my screen and show a couple photos. Um, and talk about some of the names I have given them.
Mhm.
Susan, you can see this photo?
Yes, Bill, it's great.
Okay. So I was on a backpack and I took a wrong turn and I walked up this trail and saw this pond. And then when I found my mistake, I came back and saw the pond, and I don't know, there was something about it that really caught my eye. And I took this photo. And so I thought about it a while, and I decided that there was something like a spirit there. So I called it Pond Spirit. It's, and this is a case of, uh, you know, sort of elaborating my experience of taking the photo. Now, this is a photo I took on a backpack in the High Sierra near Mount Whitney, and this is on a vast Bighorn Plateau. And the trail is over here. I don't know if you can see it running across. So I hiked over here on the other side of this small lake and took this photo. And I don't know if you can see two little figures here walking along the trail. And so I thought, wow, here we are, some humans, we're just passing through this vast open space. And so I called this photo Passing Through. Now, this photo seems kind of serene and pleasant and so on, but in actuality, I was very uncomfortable because I was fighting mosquitoes. And when you have to settle down with a photo and be quiet and set things on your tripod and everything. Meanwhile, these mosquitoes are bothering you. However, later when after I edited the photo and so on, I thought this had this kind of feel of a very pleasant summer evening. And I thought of, being a kid and being at summer camp next to a lake. So I call this photo Summer Camp. Now, this photo doesn't, I mean, it's not a spectacular photo, but to me, it's one of my favorite photos. And I was driving uh, on a desert road in California one evening, and I was feeling kind of melancholy and pensive and so on. And so I took this photo, and I like it because of the sort of bleak landscape, the road sort of going to nowhere, uh, a few color lit clouds, but not overwhelming. The moon just coming up. And it just felt kind of really lonely. So I called it, this is provisional, but I called it East of Sadness because I was heading east for one thing. So this is an old bristlecone pine high up in the White Mountains at about 10,000 feet. And one thing my mentor had me do was make a long list of words and try to put pairs of words together that you wouldn't ordinarily put. And so this was a pair that I had come up with, and I call this Aging Wind, just because the thing had been sculpted by wind over probably centuries. This old, that's probably dead now, but this old tree is probably 3,000 years old. So one of the things I liked about these old bristlecones was they seemed to have a warm sense to them. The wood seemed warm, not cold like these rocks down here, but warm. But on the other hand, the wood itself was very hard and brittle, like the rocks. So I named this photo Warm Hardened. Again, a pair that you wouldn't ordinarily put together, but Warm Hardened. So this is an old, again, probably dead foxtail pine. And the day had been stormy, cloudy. And then sometime in the afternoon, the sun came out. And it has the sense that the tree is sort of opening its arms, welcoming the sun. So I called it, as an allusion to the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun. And I'll show one more. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting to time. Um, this is in a place near the Sierra where there's a lot of rocks. And I glanced up and I saw these rocks as I was driving by, and I saw the separation between them. And then later, when I took the photo and changed it into black and white, and I had the feeling of like different groups of rocks sort of moving, marching to the right, which is west. So I call this photo Marching West. So I'm going to stop there. Um, So the point here is some parallels to our practice of, being taking some care and uh, naming elements of our practice. For example, our feelings or the state of minds that we have. Uh, Anger, for example, could be irritation, could be resentful, could be appalled, or could be furious. So, you can be careful in naming aspects that come up in your reflection. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you for watching and listening this morning.